I personally don't like to ask filmmakers questions about their work,
Okay.
because their work speaks for itself. And
बहुत
this will
ज़्यादा.
keep happening in theaters. That is why they call it collective experience. That is why bhai ki movie dekhni hai. That is why theaters have what they have, and
Exist.
that is what people go for. I thought Indian cinema is one thing and Western cinema is one thing, but he did it. He showed something in the Indian context that I could not imagine.
For the second episode of the Long Live Cinema show, I got the chance to speak with Paroma Bose, who runs a YouTube channel named Cinemawali. She's one of the very first creators in India to introduce video essays on cinema, and her work is both enlightening and inspiring to say the least. Her efforts have been appreciated by industry dignitaries like Anurag Kashyap, Hansal Mehta, Apurva Asrani, and Manoj Bajpayee. Paroma and I spoke about our mutual love for the art of storytelling, and we also talked about what it truly takes to be a content creator in this space. You are going to love this episode, and in case you do, make sure you hit the red subscribe button and also press the bell icon, and of course, give this video a thumbs up. So, with that said, let's sit back, relax, and start the show. You recently attended a film festival. How was it, that experience? Because I guess it was hosted by like, how was it? It was
Film fest. I'm not sure what you're talking
the
about.
film festival. This one. Arey yaar, Devashish Makhija was also there. I
Oh,
think.
that was just a film discussion.
Okay, okay.
It wasn't a festival as such. It was just so Abstract Room is this collective sort of where, and they frequently organize screenings and stuff for their community, and it's a community that you can subscribe to. So they invited me actually for the screening. So, and even though there were tickets, I was invited, so I didn't have to pay. So I
Yeah.
went there, and yeah, it was. They were basically screening three of Devashish Makhija's short films, which was Chipataka Dumpa, Cycle, and Ugly Bar. And Ugly Bar is a film I've already seen on YouTube. It was already up. I'm guessing it's still up there. It was by Terribly Tiny Talkies, so it's there. And the other two were also films that we got to watch there, and there was a discussion that followed, and the filmmaker was very receptive to the sort of criticism that came, and it was good. I personally don't like to um I personally don't like to ask filmmakers questions about their work,
Okay.
because their work speaks for itself. They did what they did. It is the audience's reaction that matters, not what they intended. Because if they intended something else and it didn't come across, that's not my problem. That is not the audience's problem. And yeah, if they want to talk about it, they say something about it, I'm always open to hear it. So I like to listen to the reactions, and I was glad to see that some other people also had similar reactions to mine, and that the filmmaker was able to take it well, and there was a lot of insight into the like the cinematography and stuff, that a lot of technical aspects. So it's good to hear about these things and learn about these things. But yeah, it was a great experience.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
So, how did you like? I want, वैसे तो otherwise ये question भी आएगा कि आप अपनी journey के बारे में बताइए, but I don't want to ask that. I just wanted to know, like, how did the idea of Cinema Wali just stuck? I know we have been watching your journey, and guys, by the way, I'm going to give all the links of Cinema Wali Paroma's Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and wherever she is. You can go and follow her everywhere because you are not going to regret it. Trust me. So, how did this, like, how did you get started with Cinema Wali? What was that one? When did the bulb light up in your head कि यार ये करना चाहिए?
So I used to put up film reviews on Facebook.
Okay.
Like I used to just post about any film I watched, any show I watched, and I used to put in a lot of thought into it. And simultaneously at the time I was studying. I was studying film and television production at Xavier Institute of Communication, and I was learning film appreciation at the time. So I hadn't fully formed at the time. I still haven't fully formed, but yeah. So I was doing that, and a lot of people actually appreciated my reviews, and they said I was waiting for you to recommend this, and now I know I want to watch it. So I kind of thought that okay, what I'm saying actually resonates with a lot of people. And then what happened is my friend in college, Simon Dar Vagdhare, whom the internet knows as Simon Says, uh
हाँ
yeah, the YouTuber Simon Says, the,
नहीं
with the
मतलब
million
जितने
subscribers.
जितने आराम से बोला ना जिसको साइमन सेज सो ही
Yeah.
इज अ बिग गाय नाउ सो
Yeah.
या
So you know him, right?
ऑफ
So
कोर्स
he was just starting out at the time. I think it's 2017 or 18 that I'm talking about. And he had started his channel already. And most of us were very skeptical कि ये क्या है, YouTube क्या कर रहा है? Nobody was doing YouTube at the time.
राइट
And but Simon Dar always did whatever he wanted to do, and he did it well. And I genuinely appreciated what he was doing. Like some of the things he covered, like he did a very nice research thing on the public toilets in Mumbai, and I really liked what he was posting. So it gave me a lot of confidence. And he was at the time he was also low budget. So when I decided one day that okay, everyone's saying this, and I want to do video essays. Nobody in India is doing video essays. That was the main trigger point key. Okay, this is one thing. So I asked Simon that what kind of mic do you use? He said, I use this Amazon ka 150 rupees ka lapel mic. I was like, good, I have the same one, so I'm just going to start. So that's how I started out. And yeah.
and here we are.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that you must have this huge like you just mentioned that people used to come up to you and recommend you stuff. So does that still happen ki nahi nahi we will ask her and then we will decide what we have to watch? Like do you have any, like, is your family always asking you, are your friends always asking you कि नहीं भाई पिक्चर देखेंगे तो इसके बताने के बाद ही देखेंगे or something like that?
I haven't actually thought about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes they do. I don't think anyone is really necessarily waiting in my own circles, but
right.
they do ask me. And my dad sometimes asks me what new series to watch, what new films to watch, and stuff like that. And when it comes to my mom, I have to sit her down and tell her to stop doing all the housework, and I have to show her films while I do the housework so that she finally gets to watch something. And yeah, some friends sometimes do ask me for recommendations, but I didn't think about it in this
Okay.
regard. Ki, oh, they are asking me. It's not like that, but they do ask me like you would ask a friend. It's pretty much like that.
No,
Yeah.
because like when it comes to my dad, so I don't know if this happens with your dad as well, but he almost every day he's like, बेटा कोई series बताओ अच्छी सी. So I give him something, but then he's
Yeah.
like कि यार इसमें वो बात नहीं है. Like he has already developed a taste of the shows. Like if you have shown him Mirzapur, you have shown him all those things. So he's always
Mm.
like कि मुझे यही देखना है. So then I also feel कि यार what should I recommend him, because then he's like अरे क्या यार. But
Yeah.
anyways, what did you watch recently?
Recently I watched Beef, and
Yes.
last night I was watching Hunger on Netflix, which is a Thai film. And I haven't finished it yet, but I have to. But yeah, Beef was really, really good. Beef is another series on Netflix. I'm sure you watched it.
No, I
And
haven't watched it, but I've heard a lot about it.
yeah,
I will
it's
I will
really,
start watching.
yeah, it's a really great take on rage and the idea of revenge. And it's really beautifully done. By the end it's very satisfying, so I really like that. And currently I'm watching a few things. I started a series today, but that's for the next video.
Okay.
But I'm watching a Bengali series for the first time because I've kind of lost faith in Bengali
Okay.
content for a while now. Sometimes here and there is a good film, so I watch those. But yeah, the series I'm watching currently looks pretty decent so far. So let's see how it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you like when it I saw in one of your stories on Instagram that you are, and also in on your stories and also on in the Q&A video that you did, that you are mostly into watching series, not so
Yeah.
much you are not so much attached to watching movies all the time. So did you watch all the Oscar nominations when the time arrived कि हाँ
Uh,
nominees announce हो गए हैं, so let's check them out.
Not at all.
Okay.
I mean, I do that sometimes. I feel when I feel like it. Like I have been wanting to watch The Woman King, but feel nahi aaya abhi tak to nahi dekha. So that happens. I watched Tar and I watched The Banshees of Inisherin. I wanted to watch a few others, and it completely, honestly, I blame it on my ADHD, but I keep bouncing from one thing to the next and I forget. And the thing about films is I of course I enjoy watching films, but um somewhere my headspace is always I especially if I'm tense, I want to get lost in something. So I want to completely immerse my brain in something. So for that reason, I will start a series. But if I'm in a good space, where if I'm feeling like, okay, I can watch a film today, watch something to enrich me, then I can watch a film. But usually I'm in a mess. So I'm like, I need a series that I can just spend my whole day in and not think about anything else. So that's how I watch things.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I ask you that if you have to recommend me one series that I should start watching it right now, what should that be?
I'm sure you've seen most of the things I
नहीं
would
but अरे यार
recommend,
नहीं नहीं ऐसा नहीं so
but I
but
can't think of anything honestly. Like, you must have watched Succession.
so I am, yes, I have watched Succession, but my thing is that I am not going to wait weekly. I want all the episodes to come out first
Yeah, that's
because
okay. But like
I
you are watching it
yeah,
also.
yeah, I'm watching it
Yeah.
for sure.
Um, I can't. Oh God, I would recommend Good Girls.
Okay.
Good Girls is a show you can find on Netflix. So you can think of it as a comedic. Say if Breaking Bad was a comedy and was about women, it's
Wow.
kind of
Okay.
like that. And
Okay.
it's really good. It was good for like 2 to 3 seasons. Then it kind of I won't say it went downhill. It didn't. It was still watchable, but it got cancelled after like 3 4 seasons. So that was really sad, even though it was really good. But you can still watch it because it does get to a sort of conclusion, so it doesn't leave you hanging. But yeah, that's good. And I would recommend. Honestly, it depends on your taste, but I would recommend Sense8.
I've
Sense8
heard about the
is,
show. Yeah.
yeah, it's on Netflix. So
Yeah.
that.
So
And the film that comes after the series, that too.
yes. So are you like what is your routine? Do you wait for weeklies or you are a binge watcher?
Yeah, I usually try to wait for the whole series to come out. But then after the third episode is out, I can't wait anymore, which is what happened with House of the Dragon, which is what happened with Succession. I wait for 3 episodes and then I'm like, ah, nahi ho raha, I'll just watch it. So then I make myself wait after that. So yeah.
Because Succession ka I have like the fourth season may episode 3 has, apparently gone off the charts when it comes to being a brilliant show, a brilliant piece of writing and everything. So I am also just trying to hold myself so that I can wait for all the episodes to drop first and then start watching.
Right.
So like when it comes to movies, do you still prefer going to theaters? Because now a lot of like the viewing habits of a lot of us have changed after 2020. So do you still like going to theaters or you mostly prefer staying at home and watching a film or a series of course, but like watching a film on your couch and enjoying?
See, growing up, I never got to go to a theater. Okay, we just never left the house, to be honest. But my father always, we had a computer. Ever since I was like 4 years old, we've had a computer. And my father has always bought these pirated DVDs, VCDs, which had like 4 5 films all at once. The latest releases, they just came like that and you could watch it. So that's what I grew up watching. And it has never mattered to me what kind of screen I watched it on. I still, if I have the option today, I kid you not, I do most of my watching on my phone. And
Okay.
people judge me so much. I'm like, I don't care. I am just comfortable here watching. Fine, if I feel like it, if I have the money, if I am in a space too, and the film is out near me, I will go and watch it. I'm very happy to have an outing, but I always spend I waste a lot of money on popcorn and shit, so I try not to. But it does not change anything for me. The theater experience, great, good to have it, does not uh, make a difference to me. The only time it made a difference was when No Way Home came out, and the experience of watching RRR. I later realized that No Way Home was great. It was so much fun to watch in the theater. But RRR, when I actually watched it on my laptop, and I appreciated it. There are some things that I'm not going to talk about because people like to attack people for criticizing RRR. But I liked the film. So and then when I saw the reaction to the film online, I realized that maybe this would have been a good film to watch in the theater, considering the audience's reaction. That's probably the only case when I thought of it, but I have never otherwise cared
Okay.
about the theater
So
experience.
it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like the screen real estate doesn't matter much. It's all about the impact that a film leaves you. And
Yeah.
for that impact, you can even watch it on a phone screen and have that same feeling. Is that so?
Yes. Yeah. That's how I feel, at least.
Okay. Great, great, great. So, coming to one of your videos that you made recently about ghosts, in which you beautifully explained the kinds of ghosts that we have seen in films. So, I wanted to really talk about what Mike Flanagan does, because I feel that right now, Mike Flanagan, his style of emoting horror, uh, his style of creating horror through trauma, like you rightly mentioned, and how he makes you feel that the most terrifying, the most horrified that you can be is from a person's action, and how that action can impact generations of people in that same place. I don't know if I'm able to articulate this correctly, but somehow I feel very emotionally connected with whatever is happening in the world of Mike Flanagan, especially with The Haunting of the Hill House and The Bly Manor, and even this recent series, which mini series that came out, which was based on an island. I'm so sorry, I forgot the name. So that is there.
Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass. Yes, correct. Because they were like, I showed it to my friend, and she was like, "Come on, yaar, what is this happening and whatnot?" But chalo, theek hai. She has her own reasons. But this is what I really, really admire about this guy, that he makes it very emotional. Like uh, he will try to connect very emotionally with the viewer, to make you actually feel for someone, to make you actually feel for what is happening on the screen, rather than just getting scared of ghosts. You are actually emotionally invested into the characters. That's why he prefers those long monologues where people are describing their trauma or their past. uh yeah, I would love to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I think the one or two exceptions to this within Mike Flanagan's work is what is that film I watched? It's Oculus is by him, right? It's not an exception, but there's the other one, like I think it's called Ouija. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
it's Ouija or something else.
Ouija.
It's
Yes,
Ouija.
yes, yes.
Ouija. I don't know how
Yeah.
you say that,
Yeah.
but yeah, so there I think he was still experimenting with this idea, which he fully developed into The Haunting of the Hill House,
So
where he
Ouija, so sorry to cut you. Ouija is not
Mm.
by Mike Flanagan.
No,
Ouija,
I'm talking about a
uh,
different one then. He's
Ouija
got
origin.
one more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Origin of Evil. Yes, 2016.
That's
Yep.
by him.
Yeah, that's by him.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where he is showing a family and all of that, but he's not gone deeper really into the psychology and the trauma and the grief. But he really brings it in with Haunting of the Hill House. Of course, I haven't read the original book that it's based on, but one really good thing that I like is how he has shown a cyclical situation when it comes to, say, uh, the bent neck lady, for example, where she's been seeing the bent neck lady her whole life, and then it turns out this, it's her. I'm sorry for the spoilers, but yeah,
Worries.
and then that bent neck lady within the Hill House has been there since her childhood. So this whole cycle of this time being fluid, time not being something linear, and within that house where trauma just escalates and it develops and it that house keeps absorbing all that trauma.
Harboring that
So
trauma, right?
yeah, and that trauma keeps leaving a mark on every generation that lives there. So I think that's one thing that he carries over even in Bly Manor. And Midnight Mass, he does something completely different, I think, where um he questions, of course he is questioning religion and divinity and all of that, but he also questions what is really good and what is evil. Like, just because you think something is good, does that make does that give you the right to control someone else's life, or to whatever the cult situation that he shows. It's difficult to, like, I don't even remember it fully, but I really like the way he went through the all kinds of different emotions connected. The trauma also comes in there. The main guy, I don't remember his name now, but his trauma regarding the drunk driving accident and all of that, and attaching that to the trauma of religion and the following of religion and all of the trauma it's leaving behind. It's really beautifully done.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Did you like Bly Manor more or the Hill House?
Hill House is definitely the
Okay.
superior one. I mean, Bly Manor is, I would say, easier to watch. Like, for me, it's less scary, but it is not as complex. It's simpler.
Hmm.
It is great. It is. I don't like to compare, but it is great. But it is not as complex as Hill House is.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, what is the scariest film that you have watched, or series, or whatever?
Hereditary.
Oh, really? Wow.
Hereditary.
Okay.
Hereditary. It is.
So,
I will never watch it again. I mean, Ari Aster is a star. He is amazing. I don't know
so
how he thinks,
where did
but
you watch Hereditary? You watch it in a theater or at your home?
on my phone.
On your phone. Okay.
Yes.
Because Hereditary got ruined for me big time. Because see, this is sometimes I watched Evil Dead last night, and I was thinking the same, that there are still I still feel that the reason why people, the makers, directors, and story writers, screenwriters, they are not coming up with more and more horror films, because I feel that sometimes the audience doesn't respect horror that much. I feel
Yeah.
that they are just there to, I don't know what, kill time, just there to watch, because nowadays people like to watch movies not from their eyes, from their Instagram reels. This is something that happens all the time. Like, I have noticed this. So in Hereditary, when, of course, spoilers ahead if you guys haven't seen it, but Hereditary, when she makes that sound, from that sound represents something. So everyone in the theater started doing that, and we
I
had to.
don't remember this, but yeah.
Okay. Actually, I
Okay.
think you don't want to remember because it was
No,
that
I
scary.
remember some very specific details from
Okay.
Hereditary, but
Yeah.
yeah, I when you talk about it, I kind of get a like, I'm reminded of something. I
Right.
don't agree that I think horror is doing better than ever now. Horror is so highly respected because of someone like Jordan Peele and because of Ari Aster and because of Mike Flanagan. It is developing so much. I learned to respect horror in the past few years because of these people and the way they've shown filmmaking through horror. And it's true for the Indian audience for sure, what you said, that the Indian audience still isn't developed enough to respect horror at the same
When I
level.
talk about, when I sorry to cut you, when
Hmm.
I talk about this, so what I am primarily mentioning is the theatrical experience.
I
Because,
get it.
like, for
Yeah.
me, like, watching, if you watch Evil Dead in that setup, right? Because the sound mix and the jump scares, the entire setup, it's very well done, right? And
Hmm.
uh we a theatrical experience, for me, you cannot really match a theatrical experience unless you have like a proper Dolby Atmos setup at your home. But uh so you do not actually, like, as a viewer, my experience gets ruined in the theater when I'm watching something like Evil Dead or a Hereditary, uh, just because of the behavior that people have in theaters, which makes you feel that they really don't care about what is happening on the screen. Yes, sure, you can watch, like, people are watching at home or on their laptops or whatever, and I'm not saying that people are not respecting horror, but it's just that when it comes to watching a horror movie in an Indian theater, maybe not so much right now.
To me, I'm sorry to cut you, but to
No
me,
worries.
this is exactly my problem with theaters, which is why I never cared about theaters, which is why I don't claim to care about the cinematic experience. But I do believe that if you think that, oh, the theater experience is so important, you have to put up with this. And you cannot argue otherwise, because the audience will be the audience. There will be a crying baby in one corner, which I hate. There will be one person asking their partner constantly what is happening on screen instead of
And the
actually
partner
watching
is
what is
also
happening.
explaining, and the partner keeps
Yeah.
explaining.
Yeah, and
बहुत
this will
ज्यादा.
keep happening in theaters. That is why they call it collective experience. That is why bhai ki movie dekhni hai. That is why theaters have what they have, and
Exist.
that is what people go for. So if I, that's why I do not. Theaters have their own place. Fine. If I watch a movie, this kind of stuff happens, and the movie is ruined for me. This is what happened to me during Heather. I'm like, why have you come to watch a Vishal Bharadwaj film?
Exactly,
Just stop.
exactly.
So I don't care for movies that way. Like I would go to a theater these days. I go alone just to kill time if I have the time. But I would normally go with my sister or with a friend just to share the experience of watching a film with them. There's no other reason for me to go to the theater. It has never been. So that's why, yeah, I get what you're saying.
So are you waiting to watch Boy is Afraid?
Of what am I?
Boy
Was
Boy is Afraid, yeah.
I haven't even watched the trailer. I don't know
Okay.
why, if there's a fuzz around it or what it is. I don't, not a big deal to me. I am waiting for Barbie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not so much. Yeah, Barbie and Oppenheimer, I guess, are
Barbie
waiting.
is going to be incredible because
Yeah.
Greta Gerwig, what she does with it, I can't
Right.
wait to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. But yeah, I am actually very much looking to Boys Afraid, because the kind of stuff that I've heard about the movie, it falls exactly into the kind of films that I want to watch. And
Right.
speaking of the kind of films, you have mentioned that you are I don't know if I should say a fan, but like you really, really love the cinema of Wong Kar-wai. So for someone like me, and for people who are going to watch this video, which I hope a lot more people do. So for someone like me and for the people who are watching, can you just quickly introduce us to the cinema of Wong Kar-wai? I'm not saying that give us an elevator pitch, but like uh why should we watch Wong Kar-wai, and what should we really look for when we start watching a Wong Kar-wai film? And of course, you can recommend the film to start with.
See, I was in love with Wong Kar-wai. Now I've kind of, he's a friend,
Okay.
not like a friend I talk to once a year. He's like that now, because I have grown as a person and I've developed, and things I cared about then, they bother me now, and I don't care about them now. Has nothing to do with his films.
Yeah.
His films are still incredible. Nothing has changed about the way I look at them. It's just my passion for the things that he shows has died. So what Wong Kar-wai is basically a romantic. So his view of romance and sensuality is what you should watch. Even in a film like In the Mood for Love, where there is no physical intimacy, almost zero, like beyond a hand being touched or a head on a shoulder, nothing. But the sensuality that comes through every frame, through his cinematography, through the way he uses slow motion and music, and the built up pain and the built up romance within characters, and an unrequited romance, like not in an unrequited way that the person I want does not want me back, but unrequited in the sense that I have all this romance inside me and I have nobody to give it to. So, and them finding each other, and this is a theme in um yeah, In the Mood for Love. This is a sort of a theme in Chunking Express, and of course, and there's My Blueberry Nights, but something like a Chunking Express and My Blueberry Nights can tend to be a little on the edge of being creepy. Okay, because oh, the girl is breaking into the guy's house, and oh, the guy is kissing the girl while she's asleep, Also, where do you draw the line? So what do you say to those things? So keeping that in mind, there is still a lot in his films. One of my introduction to him was a short film called The Hand. The Hand is incredible. It's a part of a larger set of films called Eros, and The Hand is one of them. And it is incredible what he can do within the span of a short film. And it was shocking. It was a shocker to watch because I watched it when I was in college, my second year of college. I was probably 19 at the time, and we are shown on this very sensual sexual act on screen in a co-ed environment, and we are like, what is happening? And but it was so beautiful at the same time, so you can't stop watching either. So it's incredible. You will find out a lot of things about yourself and what your ideas of romance are by watching Wong Kar-wai.
I think I'm
Yeah.
going to remember that line. That is exactly, yeah, that is exactly what I was asking for. Great. Speaking of favorite directors, so I have this question and I'll tell you where I'm coming from. So, is there any director whose work is baffling and fascinating to say the least, despite him or her doing stuff which is weird or like I think I should first tell you where I'm coming from. So when you look at David Cronenberg, when you look at Lars von
Can you
Trier,
give me a film example? I'm not
so
sure.
David Cronenberg, like recently, I'm so sorry, I forgot this film, but like David Cronenberg made a film on video called Video Rome. I'm
Yeah,
forgetting, but
I've
like,
heard of it. One second.
yeah,
Let me just Google it while you talk.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah, yeah. Video Rome.
Yeah.
थोड़ी सी और तैयारी करनी चाहिए थी, but खैर.
कोई
So,
बात नहीं.
so like David
Hmm.
Cronenberg recently made a film. I forgot his name. I'm also looking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crimes
he's
of
a
the
Canadian.
Future.
Yeah, so
Right.
Crimes of the Future. Yes, like Crimes of
Right.
the Future. There is The Fly, The Crash, Scanners.
Okay. I haven't
So
watched any of this. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So he has this affinity to portraying violence and gore, but in a very metaphorical way with his story. And when you look at his cinema, you are like, yaar, kahan se itna dimag hai yaar? How can you show this thing happening, which is unthinkable? Like for me, apart from David Cronenberg, Lars von Trier is my favorite director of all time. He's a Danish filmmaker, and he has made films like Antichrist. He has made films like Melancholia. Not the happiest films, I agree, but like for me, he was the one who actually introduced me to what cinema can mean, like breaking the boundaries of imagination and creativity in the world of storytelling. And I always thought that yaar ye India mein to nahi ho sakta. But I still love what he does because I feel that he has the balls to do it, or she has the guts to do it. And I'll still follow this person. I don't care what others think of that. So is there any director whose work has fascinated you to that level, saying कि यार ये ठीक है इंडिया में वर्क नहीं करेगा शायद कभी ना आए, but I'm still going to follow because what he or she is doing is unthinkable and probably never going to be done ever again. I hope I'm trying to make sense of what I'm saying.
So I don't honestly, I have never thought about a filmmaker that way,
Okay.
because anything I have seen has been okay. This is something new I've seen, but it's not unthinkable ever. Like, yes, I haven't thought of this before. Now I will think of this. But I have never perceived anyone's work as being um something I don't understand what you mean by it will not work in India, because I
Yeah,
don't have the
because
context to what you're
no,
talking about.
in terms of
So
visual representation of the story, let's just say that in terms of how you portray certain emotions, which like there is blood and gore, of course there is nudity, there is a lot of things that are happening in terms of violence as well. Then there are certain topics that you touch which you'll say ki nahi yaar, this might never come to India.
again, I don't see where you're coming from, because I have seen all of that being portrayed in India in the recent times.
Okay,
So maybe you're
okay,
talking in a specific context and I'm not entirely catching that.
sure.
But I honestly, I'm not sure. I can only tell you if a filmmaker has given me a fresh perspective of looking at the world, at the most. And right now I can't even think of any, because I don't know, I've not watched anything recently, and I've had a very uninspiring, very dull
Okay.
life in the last 1 year, I would say. But honestly, I don't know.
So
Because
I
when
think,
I
like you just mentioned, that give you a fresh perspective of something. So let's just say, who is that director or a bunch of directors that you can name who have given you the most unique takes on a particular subject that you thought
see,
that, oh, I never thought like that.
I'll tell you that that's what I thought of when I watched Anurag Kashyap's films for the first time. That was my reaction to him, that this is something I've never seen done before. Not in India, but I thought Indian cinema is one thing and Western cinema is one thing. But he did it. He showed something in the Indian context that I could not imagine. That was my reaction to Gangs of Wasseypur. That was also my reaction to Ugly when I watched it. So that is the reaction that I always had to his work. Not recently. I think his recent work has a little bit uninspired. Even though I liked Dobara, but I didn't like the recent one that he came up with. But yeah, that's the kind of inspiration I got from him. And also, I think Motwane has that capability where he can bring those things into Indian cinema. Outside of, I'll be honest, outside of Indian cinema, anything does not baffle me. Anything I see, I'm like, okay, this is if you're talking about how can someone show something like this, that was my reaction to Hereditary.
Okay.
When the Because I could feel the horror of this boy, spoilers, this boy watching his sister's head get chopped off, then becoming numb, coming home, sitting in his car, and then getting up and going to sleep because he doesn't know what to do, and his hearing his mom screaming from inside his room at the discovery. Just the image of that whole scenario is breathtaking to me. I know nobody cares about that from the film, everyone cares about everything else. But that is what has stuck with me, like the horror of what you imagine something like that happening to you. You can't. That is insane. So to show something like that and to show it in such an honest way, like I can imagine it happening because I can feel the emotions that the character is going through. That's something I saw there. And honestly, I can't think of much else right now. But yeah, I mean, there's always going to be cinema that's going to grow on the cinema that already exists. So there will always be something new to discover, I'm hoping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it is, the medium should evolve, right? But the
Yeah.
storytelling should evolve.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Now that we are running short of time, so I just wanted to quickly switch to something that I wanted to discuss, because you have been very vocal about this, and we should be vocal about this. Is that you and me and people like Nona and people like Basundra, people like Humans of Cinema, Chalchitra Talks, all these channels, we have decided to come up with a niche which is still, and trying to do something in that niche which is still not very common. Because like you just mentioned, key video essays, when you started video essays, nobody was doing video essays. Cinema beyond entertainment, maybe, but like still you will not find a lot of channels in India who are trying to do video essays. So I just wanted to touch on the content creation aspect, and I would love to know how you come up with your videos. Like, I think this was something that are like every person who watches video essays should also know, ki how actually a video essay comes to from one point to another. And the thing that you see published on YouTube, a lot has been done to bring it in front of you, and you sometimes have to make a lot of sacrifices as well, creatively, monetarily, and whatnot. So to start with, I want to know, like, what is your process of making a video essay on your channel?
See, first of all, these days, the first thing is to find out whether that particular film's production house is going to block me if I make a video essay. If it is, I will not make it. and that's that. So that is the biggest sacrifice. Then what I do is I figure out, then I spend, like right now what I'm watching, I'm still not clear on whether that series will block me or something if I use clips from it. So I will have to figure that out, and then accordingly I will decide whether I will keep it in my video or whether I will only talk about 2 other films that are going to be there. So based on that, I have to first, usually I get an idea for an essay when I watch something, and either after a while, it can be after a year, I thought about it again and it gave me this idea, or it can be while I watch it, I got this idea. So then when I get that idea, I make a note of it, and either I make it immediately or I come back to it later. And once I come to it, I rewatch the show or the film, and I make notes as I go. Sometimes I discover new things, sometimes I discover a new angle instead of the one I had thought of, and all of that happens. Either way, I make notes. Then I start scripting and I write a script from my notes. I go through my notes, and as I go, I write them, and I finish a script, and then I sit and record it. Once I've recorded it, then comes the hard part, which is the editing, which takes years. These days I try to finish it within a week, but it's very difficult. But yeah, I try to do them faster these days, but normally it would take me, uh, previously it would take me 2 weeks to a month, or whatever amount of time, depending on my headspace. So yeah, the whole process would probably take 2 weeks to a month normally, but now when I'm pushing these days, I'm able to get it out in a week or so. But yeah.
So, two things. So first, since you mentioned, and this is again, guys, whoever is watching this video, this is a reality that we actually have to think about the production house if, whether our work will be just blocked or taken away from YouTube. So, what have been some of the instances that you have faced? Because I saw that there was a brief period when you stopped making essays the way you used to make, and you have now changed your style, the way you create content, the way you are more in front of the camera and showing the footage lesser. So I would like you to highlight how and why you had to make this decision.
Because number one, my channel was not growing because of this, because of these constant takedowns, everything. It was taking me a lot of time to make each video, and then it was getting blocked. So I was not getting anything. Even videos that are not blocked I'm not able to monetize them because they are copyrighted many a times, and the companies make money out of it. So then at some point I decided, okay, every now and then I can come in front of the camera, as much as I hate it, and make a video talking to the camera. Anyone who cares about it, they will watch it. If they don't want to watch it, they won't watch it. I can't control that because most YouTubers are on camera. So might as well use this format. So that's what I've been doing. But talking to the camera, what happens is I have to say a lot of things, off the top of my head, and a lot of details get missed out in that process. So I don't prefer that. And a video essay has a poetic cinematic quality to it, which completely gets removed when you're just talking to a camera. So that happens. But yeah, instances, there are so many instances, like my Manoj Bajpayee video and my scam video. They have been watched by the people involved in the film, involved in the show. Hansal Mehta has tagged someone from Sony on my video saying, can you please unblock this? They have been shared by Manoj Bajpayee, Apurva, Ansari, uh, everyone. It did not matter. They do not care. Companies do not care. They will not move from their stance of blocking everything randomly, which is what makes me question how Cinema Beyond Entertainment's Swades video got back up, because it was also blocked at the same time that mine was blocked. But then it got unblocked, and I was like, "Mera kyun nahi unblock ho raha hai?" Because I'm not a big channel and I don't have the contacts to go and get someone to unblock it. But that is the situation we are in, and we have to live with it. And it's honestly their loss that they are losing out on all this good content. Let's just call it good content, even though we make it ourselves. But whatever. It's no reason to. I was very demoralized and dejected over this for a long time, but I'm over that now, and I don't think any of us should spend any time worrying about it.
Yeah, because I like you said, that sometimes it doesn't make any sense ki we as the audience and the appreciators of your work are actually bringing out that aspect in front of more and more people. So what is the point of just taking it away? Like, if you say that, oh, you are giving spoilers, okay, but I
No,
mean,
that's not the reason. It's just
exactly,
they have a
yeah,
legal team. The legal team has decided these are the criteria. And there's no moving from this. The only
right,
time I saw them actually manually using their heads and unblocking a video is when the choked thing happened. Choked came out. Anurag Kashyap watched it, loved it, but then it got blocked. So when I filed a dispute, I wrote that, hey, the makers have loved it. This has happened. These are the tweets. This is doing only good. I've only used 1% of the whole film, which is whatever, and it's allowed, all of that. So they actually read the appeal and they let it go. That was the only time they have manually, logically thought like human beings and unblocked something. Otherwise, they have not. Nobody has.
right. Because abhi, like recently it happened to me as well that I made a video essay on Kantara. It got like more than a million views. I was talking about how they have like about the background score, how the background score is actually telling the story of this film. And suddenly out of nowhere I got this copyright claim that there is this, and उठाते भी है ना तो बीच में से 15 सेकंड, like you are like क्या यार, it doesn't make any sense, why are you blocking this one portion? And eventually I had to remove
From
one.
where? What
Yeah.
company was this?
So this was Devo Movies. There is this
Okay, got
prominent
it.
South Indian company, and
Yeah.
Devo Movies apparently took it down, put a claim because they did a manual review. So initially, when I was uploading this video back in December, I got a copyright claim 4 times during the upload. I made the fifth, and like पांचवी बार में तो I was like नहीं यार, I let's just wait for some time. The movie has just come out on Prime Video, so okay, let's just wait for some time. 2 weeks later I uploaded, no issue, nothing, but I still did not monetize it because I was like, wait, let's not take the risk. It's fine, let
It
the
doesn't matter if you monetize or not. They will still copyright if they have to.
exactly, if they have to. So I was like, fine, let's not monetize it, let's go ahead with it. The video took off, the channel took off, everything happened great, awesome. And then one day they just bring it down. They just put a copyright claim, and eventually I had to remove an entire minute from the video. That 1 minute might not matter too much to the audience, the new people who are viewing, but that 1 minute matters a lot to me because I tried to explain something which I really wanted to explain. And I tried to edit even the simplest of the things, which took a lot of time for me. And now it has gone. Now it has, like, that 1 minute is gone. The video is 17 and a half minutes. You can surely, people can surely say that अरे 17.5 minute भी बहुत होता है, but boss नहीं था. You, that 1 minute just got cut out. And so do you now, have you started, like, do you regularly check, as a content creator, do you actually check your analytics so much ki yaar, when I'm watching a film, does that thought come to your head ki okay, I watched something, there is something that I want to talk about, there is something that I like, but let me just see how many people are searching for this, or is there any volume, or do you any ways go to the analytical side of creating content? You don't care?
Not at all. Not
Okay.
at all. People think that, oh, she made Pathan video because she wanted views. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. मेरे को, because there is so
पठान
much
अच्छी लगी तो
content.
बना दिया,
There
सिंपल.
is so
हाँ.
much. I did not like Pathan. I
अच्छा
was
नहीं
talking about
मतलब,
the conversation
but
around
still,
Pathan.
like, there is
So
something that you wanted to say,
there
that's
is,
why you did
yeah,
it. Yeah.
there is so much conversation around Pathan. My video is only one of them. It's not like it will get hundreds of views because everyone is talking about it. It's not going to. It's not RRR की कोई भी कुछ भी कर रहा है, देख रहे हैं लोग उसके बारे में. So it's, but I used to think sort of like that, and I have some ideas which I know will be more popular than others, but it's not always, it doesn't always work. Like I thought my horror video would really work because I thought there is something there is something to say, people might
Substance.
care.
Yes.
Yeah, but it did not take off. So whatever, that happens. So I don't worry about it too much. I just make whatever I want and wait for something to work out. That's all.
Right. So, and also, like you mentioned in one of your stories that sometimes you get comments and you feel like maybe your or video is not reaching to the right audience,
Yeah.
and you are like, why is that happening? So, like, do you have any comment that made you feel like, yaar, what am I doing, man? Why is not my
Yeah, I
videos
mean,
not reaching?
so many of them, people
Yeah.
commenting on what lipstick I'm wearing, and people commenting on kya I don't know, these kinds of stupid things. So yeah, as a woman especially, you have to put up with shit like that. But my problem is a lot of people don't. Someone in my that ghost wala video comes and comments, hey, it's not like that. We just get scared because they put scary makeup. I'm like, arey, I should just close my channel and fuck off. I should not.
मेरी मेरी जिंदगी खराब है बेकार
Yeah,
है.
Bekar mein I've been thinking and writing and reading all this. So it was things like that happen, and then I realized that in general, there the cream of the crop, the audiences which understand in India are very few in number. We have a lot of quantity and a lot of very little quality, and a lot of them are watching your channel, but a lot of them are not. A lot of random people will come. For example, a lot of my subscribers came from my Irfan video.
Yes.
And now the
I
Irfan
was also the
video,
one. I was also the one. Yeah.
now the Irfan video, yes, it will bring a lot of genuine subscribers like you, but it will also elicit a lot of emotional reactions in people. So people who are emotional about him, that who would have liked it no matter what I said, no matter what I did, they would have liked the video. Now they get annoyed when I make a Pathan video, or they get annoyed when I talk about something else, and they don't like it because they were the wrong audience. Ultimately, that video got me the wrong audience. So I can't do anything about it. I can just sit around and hope that the right audience catches on, like they did with Cinema Beyond Entertainment. And it somehow has not happened yet, but let's hope in the future it does. Maybe it's my content is not good enough. That can be a reason. Maybe it's the algorithm. Maybe it can be a number of things. It doesn't matter. I don't need to worry about it, honestly. I just need to keep making stuff every week. That's all.
Yeah, so right now your main focus is just consistency and authenticity, and yeah, just
Yeah.
moving ahead with it.
Yeah.
So what aspect of your process do you hate the most? You are like कि यार ये भी करना है यार, मुझे नहीं करना, कोई
Editing.
और कर दो मेरे लिए.
Editing. I used to love editing. I still love editing music videos.
Oh,
And, things where, because there's a rhythm and I have to put something on that rhythm, just match it perfectly so it sounds just perfect. That's what I like to do. This looking up clips and making what I'm saying go with what is being shown, that just drives me nuts. It's
thank you
very
for saying that.
boring, to be
Thank you.
honest. It's
Thank you.
very boring.
Thank you
Yeah.
for saying that. Because yeah, it's like it becomes a chore. It
Yeah.
feels very non-creative, I should say, but then ultimately you have to think of like, okay, come on, let's get done with it. वो थोड़ा
Yeah.
जुटाना पड़ता है अपने को, but yeah. So
Yeah.
all right, so let's we are almost in the end of our conversation, and I'll just quickly sum it up. So for someone who wants to appreciate cinema, apart from watching your channel, what are the other channels that you recommend?
Thomas Flight. Uh, Now You See It.
Yeah.
Yes. The Take. And The Take is good for everything, not just films, but like
Yes.
all pop culture in general. Um, uh, what's that? Shit. The Art Assignment, is it? I think it's The
Yeah.
Art Assignment.
Art
It's
assignment.
about paintings. If you want to understand cinema, you have to understand paintings. So it's highly recommend watching that. And Art Deco. Art Deco is another one. So you should watch. You should be watching. If you genuinely care about appreciating cinema, keep looking at paintings, keep watching videos explaining paintings. It's very important.
And I want to recommend you one channel. It's called the Cinema Cartography. Please
Okay. I
watch
think
it.
I've watched it.
Yeah. For me, that is like the epitome of creating content in this space. I highly revere them. So I would love for you to check out more of their content. It's simply amazing. And so I have to ask this, यार मतलब ये तो पूछे बिना खत्म ही नहीं होगा. So what do you think is, can you give me 5 movies that you think that everyone should watch at least once? At least once. Yeah, at least once, because they can leave a huge impact. Do you have any recommendations? And this can be very random, yaar. It's not just that
there are no 5 movies in this world that everyone must watch.
Chalo, not
There are
5
5
movies.
movies that you must watch. There are 5 movies that I must watch. There are 5 movies that my mom must watch. But they are all different 5 movies. It does not matter. Just watch whatever the fuck you want. I could say Prem Ratan Dhan Payo right now because I recently watched it and I had thoughts about it. So I could say that. Doesn't mean you should watch it. It does not matter. Just watch whatever you want. There are no recommendations.
And discover it yourself, like what you really like, what you
Whatever,
really...
yeah, you will find a way to discover films. There's Mubi now, and there's so many streaming platforms. You will find things if you want. Just explore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, no recommendations. Just
Prem Ratan Dhan Payo. Watch Prem Ratan Dhan Payo.
But the thing is that if you have a watch list, finish that watch list first. And I think you will find a lot of things that you have to watch. And yeah, I think we can now wrap up our conversation. Thank you so much, Paroma. It's a big deal for someone like me who has been following you for such a long time. And I actually follow you. ऐसा नहीं है कि हो रहा है तो बोल दिया. नहीं, I actually follow your work. It is inspiring and I learn something new. And I'm sure everyone who's watching this, if you go and follow, which you should, if you go and subscribe to Paroma's channel, which is Cinemawali, you are going to, आपका दिमाग खुल जाएगा. Right. I'm not saying this to butter anything or anyone or anything, but seriously, just go and check out her content. She actually puts in a lot of effort. There is a lot that goes behind. If a video comes out, it's good that it is coming out because otherwise वो block हो जाएगी. So if it's coming out on YouTube for you guys, please go and check it out. Thank you so much, Paroma. It has been a fantastic conversation.
Thank you so much for having me and all the best. I think you're really doing a great job.
Thank you.
Keep doing that. So all
Thank
the
you.
best
Thank
to
you.
you.